everybody. Welcome to Stream Like a Boss TV. I'm Tanya Smith, your host, and we deliver this weekly live stream really to help you, if you are a service provider, to leverage live stream marketing so that you can sell more services, serve more of your people, and stand out online. And tonight I want to give you a really quick and simple, actually, it's not going to be that quick because I want to walk you through this, but want to give you an update. So you saw my breaking news, clip just a second ago. It's because Instagram Live Producer is now available for professional accounts. So this has made a bit of a buzz around the intranet because it was not previously something that existed for everybody. Like everyone did not have access. I will tell you that I had access probably for like the last year, but I did not make the best use of it. Now I can imagine there are going to be a lot of folks trying to make use of it. So I wanted to share with you a couple of things. Before I do that, I'm going to say hello to some folks that are here inside of our Facebook and YouTube spaces. We also are broadcasting live on LinkedIn because I do want to make sure all of you know a little bit about this Instagram Live Producer platform, accessibility, and I want to give you some ins and outs and talk a little bit about whether or not it could be right for you, especially when it comes to business. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, if you are brand new to the show, I want you to type in hashtag newbie. If this is something that you have been following for some length of time, I want you to type in hashtag OG because I'm here for it. I want to definitely respond and acknowledge all of you. I'm going to pop up some comments real quick, and we won't even do our little short intro video tonight because I want to dive deep into this whole Instagram Live thing and answer questions. John Lacey, what's up? Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. And thank you also earlier for popping in on my test. I did a test run just to make sure nothing had changed from what I recalled with Instagram Live Producer. The difference between producer and regular old Instagram Live, where you hop on your phone and you go live, is that Instagram Producer allows you to use a third-party platform. We'll talk about that in a second. And you can go live on your desktop. What's up, Tiffany? OG in the house. I saw Kimberly OG, John OG, stepping out with Valerie Harris. Of course, OG and Stream Boss, by the way. And then I also see my friend Richard. Yes. What's up? What's up? What's up? All the OGs in the house. So if you're new and you're like, what is this OG thing? OG people are folks who have been with us for some time. And again, if you're new, I want you to type in hashtag newbie so I can give you a special acknowledgement. Look, Live Producer is now available for professional accounts, and I'm going to share with you my screen in just a second so you can see a little bit more about this. I have heard a lot of different questions about it. I've read a lot of questions, some that have been sent to me directly and other people's feeds. And I do want to try to address some of the common questions that are popping up. I am glad you're here too, stepping out with Valerie Harris.
Stream like a boss.
Always appreciate you showing up for Stream Like a Boss TV. Let's do this. Before I go any further, and like I said, I'm not even going to do the little intro clip, but I will give you a chance to go grab your favorite hydration, get your notepad and your pen, because we're going to break this thing down. I actually have a couple of things I want to talk about, but first I'm going to show you what I thought was a really kind of good breakdown on Threads, okay? So this is from Instagram, because Instagram and Threads are connected, right? So Instagram Live Producer gives broadcasters access to production tools outside of Instagram's camera, including additional cameras, external microphones, and graphics. Notice that it says this feature is only available on desktop via Instagram.com. And I am going to talk a little bit about historically what we were seeing so that you know what is actually new, because one of the things that kept popping up I saw in my feed is, hey, why are they acting like this is new? It's been around at least for, a year or two. But no, it wasn't accessible to everyone. So only a few people, and who knows why or what the rhyme and reason was for people getting access, but only handpicked people from Meta actually had that access. And like I said, I had access. I've had access for some time, but I did not use it consistently. So if you're on a professional account, notice it says that, okay? On a professional account, you can go live on Instagram using streaming software. So when I mention third party platforms, I'm talking about Ecamm, I'm talking about StreamYard, Restream. So I'm going to show you Restream in just a second because that's what I use typically beyond Ecamm Live. And I'll show you what this stream key thing means. Okay, because it's not as simple as it is with other platforms. So I definitely want to talk a little bit about this. We hope this helps broadcasters take their content to the next level, is what they said, right? So there are a couple of other slides in here talking about Instagram Live Producer, and it's going to give you instructions, but we don't need to worry about that because I'm going to walk you through instructions on how to use it myself. Like I'll show you the back end and show you exactly what you need to do in just a few minutes. Yeah, this is so funny. Let me go ahead and put this up because I love this comment. And John, you're right. So he almost bought a new phone because he was frustrated by options for doing Instagram Live, but you don't need to now. Now, just because it's available doesn't mean that this is going to be right for everyone. And I do want to talk a little bit about that. Again, for those of you who know me, you know that my gift is in breaking down strategy. So we need to talk about marketing strategy and we need to talk about how you'll be using or not using this for your business. That is specifically what I want to focus on. So if you're using it as a hobby, if you're using it to talk about, I don't know, personal things, that's going to be different from what I'm really focusing on tonight. I want to focus on this from a business standpoint, particularly if you're in a service-based business, because that, again, you're my people if that's where you live, right? So I am going to break down a couple of things, and let me see my agenda real quick so that I can make sure I give you what you need. What's up, Team Live? Marcello, I see you. I see you. Okay. So I'm going to break down what Instagram Live Producer is. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the backdrop, like what was the big deal about this coming out now. I'm going to talk a little bit about why it could be a game changer, maybe. We'll see. I also will talk about pros and cons. If you are a service business, I want to talk about pros and cons of that. Let me do this real quick and make sure I turn my focus on so that we don't have all these dings coming from my watch. Okay. So I'm also going to talk about, besides pros and cons, I want to do a demo for you. I'm going to share some hidden tips and things that maybe you didn't know were in there, since this is now accessible. And if you didn't have it before, it is a little bit clunkier than what you may be used to with other streaming platform socials. Like if you were going live directly from Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn through a third-party tool like Ecamm, StreamYard, etc., it's going to be different. It's not the simple click and go. So that's why I want to walk you through this, because I did see some questions. I've gotten some questions about that. So I want to share with you exactly what you need to know. Also, I want to give you a couple of ideas, like 4 or 5 ideas about how you might consider using this thing for your business. Because if I didn't have ideas, what good would I be to you? So I'm going to share those with you as well. Oh, I see some additional comments. So let me say hello to some folks and acknowledge this. First of all, what's up, Marcello from Atlanta, from the ATL in the house. Love it, love it, love it. JP High Tech. Dude, I'm so glad that you're here. Of course, I gotta give you the DJ air horn. That's my boy. And then Atia said, I never heard of this. Well, guess what? I'm here to share it with you right now. We're going to talk about Instagram Live. So what I will do is I'm going to share my screen in just a second and we'll actually go into that. But first, let me talk a little bit about it, because I mentioned a little bit earlier that Instagram Live Producer is different from the typical Instagram Live. When you think Instagram Live in the past, what people were doing, typically, here's the easy way. I'm going to go from easy to hard. Okay. So the easy thing is you could literally pick up your phone and go live. Like you could pick up your phone, go on Instagram and go live, but it wasn't friendly to you being able to use like a lot of really fancy tools, and you couldn't really do the whole third party thing. So you couldn't use you couldn't use Restream, StreamYard, Ecamm, etc. to do that. There were workarounds. So I'm going to middle. Okay. And the middle is there were certain platforms that would say, hey, we can help you go on live to Instagram via your desktop and using our platform. There were some platforms that were saying that they could do that. But they were doing these workarounds, and I don't know if you've ever heard something called Yellow Duck, and there's a couple of other ones that were out there, and they were real sometimey. So sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. But there also were lots of debates about whether or not they were legitimate platforms or tools that you could use to circumvent the Instagram system. Okay. So, what you didn't want is to be in trouble with Instagram or Meta and get yourself blocked by using these workarounds. And so, Instagram, for a reason, who knows what the reason is, didn't make that accessible for you to be able to easily go live from your desktop. So, most people were doing it from their phones. Then, at some point, maybe about a year, a little longer than that ago, they actually opened up Instagram Live Producer to a select few. But how they made that decision, who knows? I wasn't even very active on Instagram. Maybe it's just because I was super active on Facebook and going live every week there that I got the access, but a lot of people didn't have it. So it's only very recently that this has actually been open. Like within the past couple of days, it's been opened up to everyone. Yes, and JP said it. So happy that it's been opened up to everyone. Welcome to the party, y'all. Yep. I know. And John Lacey was introducing something in LinkedIn. So for those of you who follow him, he actually is a specialist when it comes to OBS Studio. And OBS has this really cool plugin that allows you to go live in both the horizontal, so landscape, and the portrait or vertical view, which is really cool. So I know you're going to be coming back and telling us how to use that. But I'm also going to show you some tips in just a minute too when we do the demo. Now we just need TikTok to stop gatekeeping these options. Yeah, TikTok right now, at least as last I knew, you still had to have 1,000. What was it? There were a couple of things. 1,000 followers, because I made it to that, and then you can go live from their desktop app, but you couldn't really use third-party platforms without them being, as you say, John, a little dodgy. Yeah. It is still a bit of a pain, and that's what I want to show you. I'm going to show you how you use it. It's clunky. It's not super easy, but you can use it now. So Carlos has been using Multicam with the in-stream with overlays for verticals, also with vertical PTZ cameras. Okay, so he's getting real techie on some of us, but he knows his stuff. I use Ecamm for both landscape and horizontal view. Yes, you do need to make a video on that, especially right now. I'll probably be doing a video on that too, because I've been doing my vertical reels and shorts using Ecamm if I'm not just using my phone. So there are options out there, y'all. It's just, excuse me, a matter of making sure you use it responsibly and you use it in a way that's going to make sense for your business. Okay. So that's the thing I really, really want to hone in and talk a little bit about. Turn that off real quick. Okay. Yeah, John, Carlos is talking your language. I know, the techie stuff. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Let me go ahead and open up my Instagram account. Excuse me, and I got a little bit of a tickle just now, but I will work through that. I'm going to open up my account and I'm going to show you exactly where this is. So for those of you who don't know where this is, I want to show you where it is, and I want to talk you through some of the pros and cons and ins and outs of using this. So you probably have seen people do Instagram lives, right? Because when they're live, if you go on to your Instagram account, you'll see this. And let me show you real quick here. You'll notice that right there at the tippy top. And I'm going to try to blow this up if I can a little bit. Let's see if it will let me do it. Okay. So notice right here at the top, there are a couple of folks that are actually live. So it says live. And you'll see this when people are actually using Instagram Live, right? So previously, again, everybody couldn't do that unless you were using your phone. You could go live on your mobile phone, but it wasn't nearly as cool looking because you don't get to put a bunch of fancy like designs and have stuff flying across the screen and all of that, right? It was literally very basic through your phone. But then what happened is when I got Instagram Live Producer, I noticed this pop up. It said plus create. So now you should have this too. If you don't know where this is, look on your sidebar when you're in your desktop at Instagram.com. So when you go here now, Create has an option for live video. So when you go to live video, here's what I'm talking about, why I say that it's clunky. There's a couple of things. First of all, you do have the ability to be able to go ahead and add a title and you can share an audience. But let me come in real close with you for a second and say this. You cannot yet schedule events. So you know how when you schedule, like if I use Restream or Ecamm and I say, hey, I'm going to go live on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, it's going to share an event, even though it's Tuesday, right? It's going to share an event so that people can see, oh, this is coming up. You can't yet do that with Instagram Live. So you can schedule in that you create a post or you create a story and say, hey, this event is coming up, but you cannot create an event specific to the live. So when you go live, like you're seeing me do on screen here, when you go live, you literally need to be going live right now. Okay. So if you tell people, if it's Tuesday and you're telling them that you're going live on Thursday at whatever time, you come in here and you go ahead and add your title. So I'm just going to say test title for now. And by the way, I promised some of you that I would actually go live on IG after this. So you can kind of see what it looks like. So audience, here's something that's cool that you want to know. And that is that you can do a practice run. And I would highly recommend, if you have not used this before, to do this first. Okay. So you can see how it looks, unless you just have a very forgiving crowd in your audience, right? But do practice. And as a matter of fact, I'll show you what this looks like when I do say practice. So I clicked on practice and now I'm going to do next. And someone just put in the comments exactly. And I'm going to share that in just a second, John. So that's perfect. So this is the thing. When you go in here to your Instagram Live, you're getting a stream key. And I should have blurred this out, but you're getting a stream key and you're getting something, a URL that you're going to use. And let me show you what I mean by that. So what you'll have to do, since it will definitely be changing each time, nobody needs to worry about stealing mine. So let me let you know that. But here's what will happen when you put that stream key in to go live on your system. Every time you go live, it will be different. Let me pop up John's comment because I want you to see what I'm talking about. So that key that you saw, that URL or that link, both of those keys, you need those in order to plug it into your third-party tool. So if you're using desktop, you're using IG Live Producer, okay? You need to be, or IG Producer Live, whatever. You need to put your keys into the third-party tool. And I'll show you in Restream, for instance, how this works in just a second. And yeah, Richard says it, practice. I just highly encourage you to practice and to make sure that you're, I guess, you feel comfortable and familiar, just like you would with any other type of live, right? I want you to be able to do that. Oh, and here's a little reminder. If you are enjoying the video, I made myself a little pop-up so I don't forget to ask you to like the video. If you're learning something today, make sure you like the video, because I always get all this great feedback and then I go back and I look at my numbers and I'm like, I forgot to tell people to like the video. Okay. All right. So when you do go live, after you've added those stream keys and you go live, there's a couple of other buttons that you're going to have to press. And I'll show you in a second in my Restream what this looks like on the back end. Okay. But when you're going to copy those stream keys, you're going to open up your third party tool. Mine will be Restream. Let me just pull it up now. Okay. And then next, we'll talk a little bit about the whole ins and outs, pros and cons. Why would you do this? Why not? I'll talk about that in just a second. But I'm going to show you if I can. I have to be careful because I'm actually broadcasting in Ecamm via Restream. So I don't want to mess this up. But I'm going to try to, let's see if this will work. I'm doing like an Inception style thing again. Some of you remember I did an Inception style webinar or workshop for an organization. They loved it, where it was me going live and showing them the back end and the front end at the same time. Okay, so here's what I will do. I'm going to, okay, it might let me do this. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to show you the back end of my Restream. And there's something really important that I want you to see when I show you this. This is why I need you to see the back end, okay? So I'm switching over. Hopefully I don't lose you. It is too many steps, Carlos. Holy right. Like, you can't see that. Let me pop this up because I totally agree. Like, they need to make this simpler, but watch this. Okay, so you copied the stream keys. Okay, so now you're going to go over into StreamYard, Restream, whatever, Ecamm. And when you go in, you're going to then have to choose either RTMP and paste those keys. Or if it says, hey, add Instagram, then they already have an Instagram RTMP section. And when you click on that, it's going to ask you for those stream keys that I just told you needed to copy and paste, right? So let's see if I can show you what I mean. Where is mine? Where is mine right now? There it is. Okay. So it's right here, right? So if I were to create an RTMP space, which is what I did in Restream, okay, I just said, yeah, add Instagram Live, and then I pasted the codes in there. And now, here's the other thing. You're not going to want to go live in a horizontal view like you see right now. You're going to want to go live in a vertical so you take up the entire space. So if you're doing this in something beyond Ecamm, nowadays, most of these platforms have both landscape and portrait orientation. So what you're going to want to do, and you probably were thinking, I don't need to do all that. You probably were thinking, I'm just going to go live like I normally do, and I'm just going to add Instagram. No, because it ain't that simple. What you're going to want to do is change your orientation to portrait. Okay, so when you change it to portrait, notice how it's now giving me the narrow, and it's going to take up the entire space on the Instagram screen. So that's what you want. It is too many doggone steps. I know, y'all. Okay, so now that you're in vertical view and you're going live, you can do this. You can go ahead and say go live. And when you click go live here, there's another step. When you click go live here, back over here where you had your post up. And again, I'm just gonna, let me scoot over real quick. I'm gonna get it back up. I'm gonna make it a practice run. And I wanna show you what's gonna end up happening. Here's another step. Holy cow. Okay, let me see if I can do it this way. I'm gonna do this. I'm going to take a screenshot because I wanna be careful. I'm not like messing things up over here. So we will do this. I know, I see y'all. I see you saying, hey, it's too much. It is too much. Uh-oh. Get me out of there. Stop sharing. Here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show you that in your Instagram, there's also now a go live. So you can't just go live on Restream. You then, after you go live on Restream, have to go back over to Instagram and click on go live. That's what I want to show you. So I'm trying to be careful and not show information I shouldn't be showing, but I'm going to do it this way, okay? I know. And look, this is Marcello. Yeah, it's just crazy. So here's what I'll do. This is why I need to do it live. Like I need to go live on Instagram, and I will do that after we do this YouTube video so that you can really see the end result because it works out. I like it best with Ecamm because I can do fun stuff with it. But let me show you. And yeah, this is so right. So one more thing, John says, you also might need to make vertical versions of your streaming assets, right? So I had to go back in and make borders and all kind of other crap to make sure that it fit the vertical view or the portrait view. But let me show you this. Okay, so you see that I've got my Restream up right here. And in the backdrop, I've put my go live, okay? So not my go live, but my window where I was going to go live on Instagram is here. So when I click on go live here, after this stream is active and I can see myself over here in the view, and let me see if I can do it. Oh, I didn't put the stream key. I'm not going to do that now. But after you see yourself, your preview over here in the Instagram window, that's when you click on go live. Okay? Now here's the other thing. So you click on go live, you go live and you're like, oh, this is great. I'm on Instagram live and I can see comments and everything's coming through and it's nice. What then happens after you go live on Instagram is you don't instantly see your recording. Like it's not staying up there like it's a post. Now you got to go to your archive. So I am going to retrace my steps here in a little bit and give you a summary. Okay, we'll do that. But now you got to go into your archive in Instagram and hopefully, and this is what I'm going to encourage all of you to do now. If you're going to be doing Instagram Live right now while I'm talking, go into your settings and make sure that you turn on archive. Okay, because that way your Instagram that you just recorded, your recorded live, will be saved in your Instagram account under the archive. If you haven't turned that setting on, it won't. But here's the good thing. Thank goodness. If you're using Restream, etc., to make a recording locally on your computer or in their platform, it'll save there too. So that's the positive. Okay. But I'm just trying to give you all these things are everybody's jumping and saying, yay, I'm so excited. But you may not be familiar with all the things that go into it. So when I ask you, is this really what you want to do right now? Is this how you want to spend your time? We need to talk a little bit about the business benefits in a second and whether or not it truly is right for you in this moment and whether or not you're ready to put together a workflow, because that's what you're going to need, at least in the current state. Now, I can imagine if more people start using this frequently, and once you get the hang of it and you've done it a couple of times, you'll be okay. But I'm going to strongly encourage you to have a workflow, like a checklist put together of the things, because you just saw me go through most of the things that need to happen in order for you to get this thing done, this Instagram Live, okay? This is why. So when I told you I've had it for like a year and I haven't used it consistently, all of this stuff is why. Because I'm about pace and I'm about moving and grooving. And so I haven't taken the time in the past to really do this regularly, but there are some advantages that we do need to cover. So I wanted to share that with you so you get a feeling for how this all works. The one other thing I want to tell you right now is that you also will not have the benefit of your comments popping up on screen unless you use yet another tool. There's a Chrome extension that Stephanie Garcia actually turned me on to because I didn't know about it, but there's a Chrome extension that will allow you to show your Instagram comments on screen when you're using that other platform to broadcast. But that's just one more thing. It's just one more thing. So I know, let me put some comments up because I'm loving these. I love this stuff. Okay. So first of all, John, yes, I do hope that I hope it will be easier in the future. You're welcome, Debbie. Thank you. Thank you. It's been like this since I got access a year ago. Yeah, me too. And again, Dan, that's why I haven't used the doggone thing. If they planned on making it easy, it would, it would be been down before the mass rollout. I know you're not wrong. If they were going to make it easy, they could have. They had plenty of time with all of us testing to make it easier. Let's see, independent. You already said that, or I repeated that earlier. Richard said, when you do it a few times, you'll get the hang of it. So I do agree, but at the same time, it is time is money for me. So it has to be efficient. And I absolutely would encourage you to make a workflow. And I'm having to do that now because I do plan to incorporate Instagram Live into my flow, but it's not going to be every week. Not right now. Yes, save live to archive. Exactly. A workflow a checklist is vital. Okay, Carlos. Carlos says, I will show you a dream. Okay, Carlos, look, I think I sent you my link, so we just need to connect. I'm going to send it to you again. Braiding your daughter's hair is less complicated. We had a conversation about my daughter's hair. You're right. Yes. Black girl hair. It's a thing. It's a thing. If nothing else, I can get the FOMO out of my system and try it. I think you should, John. I think you should. And I think you should try it with OBS. And I think OBS is going to give you a lot of flexibility too to use it. What's up, Giant Slayer? Good to see you. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about strategy. Okay. So I kind of sort of showed you a walkthrough of the steps, and I will do it again, and I'll make it a little bit smoother in a little bit, okay? But I want to talk about something, and that is I want to talk about pros and cons. And then I want to talk a little bit about ideas for how you might use this in your business. And if you've got ideas, pop them in the chat because I want to see. And if you've got thoughts about pros and cons, pop those in the chat too because we're here, we're talking. Pros. So a pro could be just like with any other form of live streaming. It could be that you get increased engagement. Instagram really gives you that real-time interaction, just like with any other type of live streaming. You get the real-time interaction with your audience. So by real time, you're seeing us have this conversation. For those of you who are live with me right now, and especially if you're new, maybe you're not new or you're not familiar with this, but we get to really like have this, it's dialogue. It's not just me talking at you like a webinar, right? This is why I love this space so much. We get to have conversations. I get to see you every week, coming back and we hang out and we know about each other's daughters, Dan and I, for instance. Like, so it's real conversation, which helps you to increase engagement. And really in my mind, the name of the game for the future of your business, especially if you're a service provider or a solo business, is that you must create interaction and conversation with people. People need to know you're a real person, and you need to have genuine conversations that help you to know that you're with the right audience and help the audience and the potential clients to know they're with the right coach. So I think that doing Instagram Live could absolutely help you in that regard if your people are there. Just like with any other social space, you need to research and find out, are my people, the people I want to work with, the people I provide solutions for, are they in this space? And if they are, then Live could be a way to reach them. So if you can get proficient and you get that workflow going, that checklist that we talked about, and you start using it consistently on a consistent cycle, then you're more likely to get that increased engagement. It can help you to build personal connection, like I just mentioned, in that you're having real-time conversations with people where they can ask you questions, where they can engage with your commentary in real time, where they can follow instructions, participate in, what do they call them? When you draw a name, like any type of gaming that you might want to do, gamification of your live streams could happen on Instagram, just like it could with any other live platform. So there are lots of ways that you can go about creating that personal connection. And then because Instagram does prioritize live content. I showed you on my stream. If you look in your Instagram right now, I'm sure, especially today, you're going to see some folks that have the circle at the top with the live badge. That's instant visibility. So there's greater visibility for you. So those are a couple of reasons why it might be a pro. Now, the cons, and this is what you have to manage, okay? One of the cons could be time and resources, because it is time intensive, meaning that you do need to take the time to prepare as you would with anything. And you need to understand and get familiar with the platform so that you know how to use it effectively. So that you're not. Now, even when I was testing earlier, let me say this. I was testing earlier and I recognized that there was a heavy use of Instagram Live because it kept just buffering and buffering and buffering. And it wasn't my internet. I checked that. But it was that so many people were on it. So right now, there are probably a lot of people who are experimenting. And so you have to have some patience. You have to have patience. And remember, I said it doesn't automatically create an event. So you're going to have to find another way to promote ahead of time and let people know that you're going to be showing up at a certain time. Now, one way is to go into stories and create an event, the countdown timer. You can use that. I've used that before, and let people know that way. If you have a broadcast channel in your Instagram professional account, then you'll be able to, and by professional, I believe they mean either creator or business, by the way. So when it said that Live Producer is available to professional accounts, if you don't see it, double check and make sure what type of category your account falls under. If it's personal, you may not see it, but if it's business or if it's creator, I believe those both are considered professional, okay? But you're going to want to take some time to figure out what your game plan is going to be for promoting the live. Technical challenges. The technical challenges could be a con here because it is not a simple click and go. You're going to have to follow different steps. So you're going to need to get that stream key every time because it's going to change. And you're going to need to plug that into your platform. And you're going to need to make sure you're in vertical or portrait mode, not landscape. You're going to need to make sure that your assets are set up. That's where Ecamm makes it simple. So people like JP High Tech, for instance, and there's other folks I know that are here in the chat, they've already set this up. And so they know they're ready to go when they do their verticals. They've got their scenes, the vertical scenes set up in a particular profile, right? So they can click the profile and say, okay, I'm ready, and just go. And they have all their assets. What I mean by that is your branded borders and, names flying across the screen and that kind of stuff. It's already ready to go. Now you can do something a little bit similar in something like Restream, StreamYard, etc., but it's not going to be as robust as the options that you can get in something like Ecamm or maybe even OBS, okay, which you can set up in advance. So technical challenges could be a con for you, depending on where you are in your video journey. The third thing would be, I would think, I wrote this, but I'm going to think through this one a little bit. So the audience reach could be limited. Yeah, I did put that as a potential con. And what I mean by that is, again, you need to know where your audience is. So are they on Instagram or not? You can test this, and sometimes we just don't know until we know. So you're going to have to experiment and find out if they are there. If you're getting traction because you're going live consistently, then that could be a yes. If not, then you may not need to spend your time there. Maybe you need to focus on building out your YouTube channel or your LinkedIn space or whatever it might be for you. So those are some pros and cons. Yeah, and I hear you on that. So Dan said, I'll be honest, I'd rather get the iSpot.me and connect that to my computer and stream that way rather than go through this whole process. Yeah. Whatever you can do to make it easier for you, I want to make sure. There we go again. It should say, hey, did you like this video? If you are struggling a bit with the workflow, which again, I'll show you those steps in just a second. Figure out what works for you, just like with anything. Okay. Or you can always come and connect with us over in Stream Bosses Academy because I work with my folks on things like this, on the technicality of video, on creating work lists or workflows and checklists. This coming weekend, we're going to be meeting in our content creators cafe to do a co-working day, and we're doing something called Stop, Start, and Continue. So we're going to talk about 2024 and what are the workflows and checklists and other things related to our video that we'll continue to do, that we'll stop doing, that we'll start doing. So get help if you need it. And it doesn't have to be me as your coach, but there are lots of people that are doing work in this space that can help you. So if you're feeling challenged, but you're still like, yeah, convinced that you want to do this and your audience is there, the resources are there too. Okay. I want to give you some ideas. Can we talk about ideas? And then I'm going to go back through and show you again what I meant when I said how you set up. Okay. We'll take a number of different steps, but it doesn't have to be crazy, crazy. I just want to make sure you know you have some idea of what these steps are, if that makes sense. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to ask you, do you see yourself using this? Do you see yourself using this? That is not my question right there. This is my question. Do you see yourself using Instagram Live anytime soon? If you don't know, I'm going to give you, let's see, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 ways that you can possibly use it for your business. Okay. So I'm going to give you 4. One is you could use it for Q&A sessions. So if you have people in, let's say in your community, let's say you have a Facebook group like I do, and there's a need for people to ask questions, there's always going to be a need for people to ask questions. It doesn't matter what your niche is. If you've got leads, prospects, clients, they're going to have some questions about your niche. So what are those questions that they have, and how can you answer them in an authentic and personal way? I can see Instagram Live being used for that. And it may not have to be weekly. You could say, hey, I want to do this every 2 weeks. I'm going to show up on Instagram, and then you plan accordingly and promote accordingly. Maybe it's once a month you're going to do an Instagram Live, and the rest of the time, like me, you're doing a weekly live on your other platforms. Personally, I do not plan to mix. I thought about this at some point, about doing both at the same time, but I feel like there's a different audience that I'm going to reach, and there's a different purpose for me in using Instagram Live than it would be for my weekly Thursday nights. So finding what that purpose is and making a decision about how you truly want to use the space is going to be something you've got to answer for yourself and for your business. So questions and answers, that could be a great way to train people to ask you questions in your live stream. And if you're partnering your live stream on Instagram up with your broadcast channel, in your broadcast channel, you can do polls. There's all kinds of stuff you can do in there. So you can collect data, you can collect questions from people, and then use your Instagram Live to answer them. So that's one way. Let me see. I've got a couple of comments in here. Yes. Okay. I love it. So the answer to, are you going to be using it? WIRF TV says, absolutely, been waiting for it. And John says, I will definitely try it out later today. Okay, awesome. I will give you number 2. So number 2, so we talked about Q&A sessions. Number 2 would be behind the scenes glimpses, BTS as they call them. So you could be doing behind the scenes, day in the life type of videos, right? Where you're going live and you're sharing with people how your day is going and what you're up to, and how you're meeting with your team. And maybe you're introducing your team members. If you've got team members, right? Maybe you're introducing and telling people about a new method or a platform or a piece of gear that you use, to demonstrate whatever it is you're an expert at doing. So behind the scenes glimpses, you'd be amazed and surprised at how people love to know, how are they making the thing? Like, I saw how pretty and beautiful the cake was and it tasted so great. But how did they make that? That's why people love recipes, right? How did they make that? So think about that for your business. How can you give people the behind the scenes? Live workshops. You could do a live workshop. Now, it's a little tricky because you do have to think differently about the space, the real estate you have. If you're going to be doing a live workshop on Instagram, then you need to make, as John, I think it was mentioned earlier, different branded assets. Because if you're sharing your screen, if you're showcasing, banners with words, you're going to have more of a limited vertical space than you would if you were using, the full screen like we do on YouTube, for instance. Okay. So live workshops could work. You could just say, hey, I'm going to be delivering this particular message or this workshop live on Instagram at such and such date and time, promote it, and then have people meet you over there on your Instagram. How cool is that? Success stories and testimonials. I can really see this. So if you were doing, and this is something that I'm thinking about incorporating myself. So let's say that you are meeting with, clients, coaching clients, and you want to do hot seat coaching that other people can see going live. I've seen people do this a lot on YouTube. Why can't you do it on Instagram? So you have a collaborative partner, or you have someone who is a coaching client that's willing to do this. You need their permission. And they're talking through their particular issue, challenge, or problem. And then you're helping them walk through solutions and possibilities. And you can be doing that on Instagram. There's so many different ways that you can actually leverage this. So you're going to need to think for yourself about what makes sense for you and for your business. But I can see opportunities for you to use it. Now, personally, if you want to know what I'm going to do with it, I'm still carving out some strategies related to this and my podcast that will be on Spotify. Yes. But I am right now not of the mindset of doing a weekly live on Instagram. Instead, it will be incorporated into my current flow in a different way with a very specific intent and purpose. Still gaining the visibility that I want from that particular space, but also making sure that I don't dive so much into that it takes away from other things I need to do, such as serving my clients. So that is my personal. I'm thinking through some things on that. I still don't see myself using it each and every week because, again, it is time consuming to do lives in different orientation. And I'm very protective of my time, very protective. Okay, so I do want to walk back through the steps again for those of you who might have missed it. And yeah, let me put this on here. So people order takeout and watch cooking shows because they want the experience without the effort. Yep. So same thing with those behind the scenes glimpses that you could be doing on your IG. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up again. If I could figure this out, and I have to figure this out before we go live next time, I will do this. But I have a thought about something. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to pop something up here. Okay. Let's see if we can do image. Yeah, we're going to do that. Okay. I am going to capture my screen real quick here for you. Okay. I'm going to do it this way, just to make sure that we keep all our information safe. And I am going to do a little blur out. Okay. So remember I told you that you're going to need to change your key every time. Remember I said that? I'm going to walk you through again what this is going to look like. So when you go to create in Instagram Live, okay, and I'm going to get out of this for a second and then pull this back. Okay, let's share screen. Let me get out of here. Here's what I walked you through, and I'm going to show you one more time. Okay, you're in your Instagram. You're going to the create button that's right here. You're choosing live video because now you want to go live and be live like these people that are popping up right here. Okay. When you click on live video, you're going to put your title in. Remember, it will not schedule an event. So you're going to need to use other means to promote and tell people. But it also will, depending on the notification settings that people have set up, it may notify people that are following you that you're going live. And that's fun, right? But if you want to really make this strategic and a part of your business plan and your marketing strategy, your goal should be to let people know in advance so that they show up. You're going to put your title in, you're going to choose your audience, public or practice, right? And we want to do practice first. That's what I promised or I shared with you. Then when you actually go into, when it opens up the window, it's going to give you the stream key and it's going to give you the stream URL. And these two things you will need to copy. And then when you copy those, you're going to need to paste them where it says RTMP. Okay. So if you're using StreamYard, if you're using Ecamm, if you're using whatever, if it doesn't automatically say, hey, click here to go on Instagram Live, just use the RTMP. And when you open that up, you're going to paste these two keys that you see in your screen. Okay. When you paste them, from inside of we're going to go back to Restream. If I can pull that up, you're going to go back into your streaming platform, whatever that is. You're going to make sure you have chosen portrait orientation, not landscape. Portrait. You're going to play around in here. You're going to make sure you get it where you want it to be. Okay. There's not a lot of options, but here's one. And see how it shrinks me down? But it does give me the ability to be able to share a screen if I need to. So I can do some fun stuff here in Restream or StreamYard. But for the most part, you're going to want to use full view. Okay. Depending on your setup, okay, whatever you're doing with it, but you need to play around with that and know what you're doing before you go live. That's why I'm saying use the practice. Okay. Once you do this, you get your scene set to where you want it to be. You click on go live right here. Okay. And then when you click on go live here, you're going to see in your preview area that live video. But you're still not live on Insta until you click on the go live key up here. So you're going to go live, click the button twice. So that is the order of things. If anybody was wondering, that's how it works. Now, when you get ready to shut things down, what I would do is go backwards. So you're going to end the live here on Instagram. Then you're going to go back into Restream or whatever the platform is and end it there. Okay. And then if you don't care about using the archive in Instagram itself, what you're going to do is you will go to your StreamYard, to your Restream, to your whatever the platform is, and you're going to download, if you haven't already got it set to where it's going to save a local recording to your system, you're going to save that video. Why? Because you need to save all your doggone videos that you're creating, y'all. And if you don't have a method for doing that, that's something I teach, okay? But you want to save your content. You always want to have your content organized in a library of some format, some form, because that is reusable, repurposeful content. Like you can take that and turn that into other things. You can take that, and because it's already vertical, you can instantly turn that into shorts and reels and TikToks and other things. Yeah. So I hope that kind of gives you the order of how this all works. So I will briefly go live on Instagram after we're done here in a few minutes so that you can see it in motion. I'll also say this, because I know there's smoke coming out of some of your ears right now. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't know it was going to be that much. Okay. There is a way, I mentioned to you earlier that there is a way for you to actually show comments on screen, but you won't be able to do that if you're here. This is what I'm talking about. Let me show you. So if I'm screen sharing my Restream again, okay, usually on any other type of platform, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc., if I were in here and I was sharing my comments, right? If I were sharing comments and banners and all that stuff, so you can share banners, but if people are sharing comments, your Instagram comments are not feeding at this time into that platform. So I wouldn't be able to share my comments from Instagram. So people that are watching on Instagram Live, their comments don't automatically come in to the screen, into the platform. There is another way for you to do that. It's an extension called Social Stream. I don't have time to go into that tonight, but there is a way for you to do that. It's just yet another extra step. So, yeah, hey, did you like this video? Make sure you like the video if you got anything out of what I'm saying today. If you're totally confused and baffled and you're like, no, I ain't coming back, then I get it. I understand. But I bet you did learn a little something. If you learned one nugget, give me a high five or a thumbs up right now. When you actually are using this, here's what I would suggest. This is the order of things in my mind. Okay. This is my mind. This is my mind on math. John, you know I was going to show my math. If you are thinking this through and you're like, okay, what are the steps again? This is what I would suggest. I would say, first of all, you need to consider, if you're going to be using Instagram Live, your first question is why? Why? What are you using it for? What does it add to your business strategy, to your marketing strategy? How much time are you willing to take to learn, to invest in yourself to learn how to use it properly? You also want to know, does my audience hang out there? And if you don't know, yes, you can experiment. You have permission to do that. You also want to know, what am I going to be sharing? Am I going to be doing interviews with other people and collaborative conversations with someone else on screen? Do I plan to just go solo? How often, how frequently do I want to go live on Instagram? Because it may be different, just like my situation is going to be different than my weekly that I do. It takes a lot of work and effort for me to put this on. So it's going to be separate for me. What's the frequency going to be? Are you going to be using branded assets? So do you need to create vertical formats for your layouts, like borders and, banners and all kinds of other stuff? Are you going to need to do that? Or do you just want to use the ones that are built into, you saw Restream had some, they were simple, but they could work. What platform are you going to use as your third-party tool? That's another question, because you may not be using Ecamm. If you don't have a Mac, you may not be using Ecamm. Are you using something else? StreamYard, Restream, OBS? These are questions you want to really kind of think through as you're making decisions about how to use Instagram Live. Yeah, I tried, John. I want to keep it real because I'm never going to sit here and be like, oh, it's easy, just do it. I'm never going to say that because it's not just that simple. I think sometimes people throw stuff out there and see what will stick, but I really like to think things through because I want to make the most of my time. Yeah. Yes. Video takes up a lot of space, and that's what we talk about when we're organizing our videos and finding ways to do that. Social Stream Ninja is great. Yes, and it can definitely be a tool that will help you to pop up your comments on screen from Instagram into your third-party tool. So that's what I got for you, folks. I hope this has helped you to think through some of the things that you're going to want to think through as it relates to Instagram Live Producer. Yes, now you have it, but the question is, should you use it? Do you want to use it? I saw Dan earlier said, no, you will not be using it. But there's other people in here that are like, yeah, I want to test it out and see if it works for me. So I encourage you to kind of get a feel for it, play with it, do the practice run, maybe more than once. and see if it is something that you would be interested in doing. And if you've got questions, reach out, especially if you're a member of our Facebook group, then definitely reach out in the group and ask. I want to encourage folks in there to ask more questions like, what do you want to know? Because I probably have answers or resources if I don't know. And I want to help, but you got to ask the questions or else I don't know what you want to know. Yes, you're so very welcome. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me on LinkedIn. I love it. John Lacey, yes, have a great week. Everybody have a great week. Look, if you are interested in seeing me go live on Instagram, I will do it for a few minutes. I'm not going to be over there for long, but I'm going to do it for a few minutes here shortly. I'm just going to pop in there and show you how it looks. I will use Ecamm. I have a vertical scene already set up in Ecamm. Actually, you know what? There's something that you need to know, and I may mention it when I get over there too. John helped me to figure this out earlier when we were testing. So I think it's a little glitchy only because they've rolled it out to everyone and somebody might have missed this. But if you're watching, if you're doing an Instagram Live producer video and you're on your mobile phone, you're not going to see this. But if you're on your desktop, if you're on a laptop or desktop, you may see the comments that you're typing in are backwards. It was weird, but that did happen earlier today. I think I got that right, John. But if you're on mobile and you're typing in comments, those come through fine. So that's just something that's a little glitchy. And I say that to say, expect that there will be some glitches because they're rolling this out massively now. And I expect that when someone actually reports it at some point, they'll get it fixed. But I'm going to go live over there on Instagram for a little bit. I'm trying to decide. I think I will use Restream. I'll use Restream this time. If I were using Instagram, I could do more stuff, but I haven't set up all my assets yet in in Ecamm to do that effectively. And I can easily do that in Restream. So you'll see me there in about 5. If you're going to Instagram, it is Get Noticed with Video. All right. Thank you, folks. And look, for those of you who are traveling for the holidays coming up, if you are on the roads or in the air, please be safe. I hope that you enjoy your time. If this is a difficult time for you, please take good care of your mental. It can be very difficult for some of us. I have had a lot of major losses, family members that have passed away in the month of December. So it is typically a pretty difficult month for me, even though I don't say much about that. It can be tough, right? So I do get that. And I hope that you just take care of your heart and that you do the things that you need to do in order to stay well. Most importantly, don't give up. Stay encouraged, and let's get ourselves ready for 2024. I will probably not be live again until somewhere around the 28th-ish. I will notify everybody through my community list and all of that. So stay safe and happy holidays to each and every one of you. Yeah, John says it's melting. You're melting in Australia right now. Hey, it's only in the 60s here in Dallas. It's only in the 60s, so I don't think we're going to get a Christmas with snow or ice or even cold right now. But we'll see. Take care, everybody. And I will see you over in Instagram if you're heading that way. And otherwise, I will see you next time in the stream.